Hey, what's up YouTube? Gratha here. I'm bringing you guys yet another Lightning Arrow video update. This might be my last one, I'm not sure yet. There might be some more stuff we learned that I want to update you guys with. I'm definitely doing a build guide at the very end. This is going to be an update on day 5 and 6 though. I've learned a lot of new things, and I tested out a lot of things as well, and people have been asking me a lot of questions on stream, so let's get into that real quick. Point Blank. So I have decided that Point Blank is just not really worth running anymore, especially with Vengeance Cascade. It's pretty close on single target if you're in melee range, but for the clear, it's just straight up worse, and it's also 2 points on the tree. So I think dropping Point Blank is probably the play. Manaforged. So a lot of people notice I've been using Manaforged setups. I've been testing it a lot. I tested it quite a few times with different setups, and yeah, let's talk about that. So I'm currently using Manaforged over Ballistas and my Thunderfist. This has a lot of upsides. A couple of those are totems tend to die quite a bit, especially if you're doing harder content. A lot of you probably have noticed this, and they are kind of annoying to resummon constantly. They also have a really high visual clutter. This is a very big downside for hardcore especially. You can't see anything, and honestly, it's a big downside. Damage on totems is a lot higher still, I think, or at least it is higher, especially if they're not dying. I'll show you guys a clip of 2 Minotaurs. I had way worse gear on the Ballista totems, but I still feel like it's worth showing off, just to show like sort of a difference in it. Yeah, Manaforged is definitely very solid still. I think the single target is not bad at all. It's not as good, but it's still very solid. Manaforged has better clear as well. So the extra arrows you're getting from or whatever you're using with Manaforge helps to clear quite a bit, and it's very noticeable. Definitely better than using totems. Why Burning Arrow in the Manaforge? So a lot of people have noticed I've been using Burning Arrow in the Manaforge setup, and the reason for that is Burning Arrow has the highest damage effectiveness by far out of any bow skill, and it gains a lot of flat damage as well from ignited enemies. Normally the downside for Burning Arrow is that it has lower attack speed, but this is bypassed completely by using it with Manaforge. It's a very, very nice combination. I have been considering using Vow Ice Shot with the Manaforged instead, just for the Vow skill, because Vow Ice Shot is very strong. You just use Vow Ice Shot instead, just self-casting it whenever. Basically, the way Manaforged works, if you guys are not aware, this triggers automatically whenever you spend enough mana with your main linked skill. In this case, we're using it with a 6-link Lightning Arrow. I currently have Inspiration linked in my Manaforged, so whenever I attack twice with my Lightning Arrow, it'll proc my Burning Arrow, and it has a GCD of like 0.45 seconds or something like that, and you can reduce that with CDR. That's why we're using Inspiration. It's just a mana thing. You lose a little bit more damage because you get more damage per mana spent with Manaforged, but if you're not triggering your your Burning Arrow whenever you're casting every 0.45 seconds or whatever, then it's a damage loss anyways. That's something to keep in mind. But yeah, basically you just put in your Manaforged links and you attack, and it just triggers automatically. You don't have to worry about it too much. The Jewel setup. So I have finally gotten a large Thread of Hope. This allowed me to drop a bunch of points, and with those points, I grabbed a cluster setup. Currently using just a whatever large cluster. I have like Calamitous and like Drive the Destruction. This is not like the best in slot jewel. It's just like a decent try like skill jewel. Definitely not too bad. And then I grabbed a medium cluster. I currently have Streamlined and Eye to Eye. So another big downside about Lightning Arrow is you don't really want projectile speed, but we currently have it quite a bit from our tree. I also grabbed Long Shot because we dropped Point Blank. So that's another really good reason to maybe consider Val Ice Shot instead. And since I have so much prod speed now, I grabbed the Bow Mastery for increases and reductions to prod speed applied to bow damage. Now, this might be a problem with accuracy later. I'm currently okay with it, but I might have to grab like another Bow Mastery somehow once I need accuracy again. We'll see how that pans out. Currently, it's okay with my current gear, but yeah, something to keep in mind. Shroud of the Lightless and Bubonic. So you might have noticed I still don't have Shroud, and I still don't have Bubonic. This is mostly because I just don't have the res on my gear required. And this is kind of making me think that maybe it's not worth using Voice of the Storm, because, yeah, the res is kind of hard. I'm not going to lie, the res is kind of hard, and Voice already has some issues with it, with Trinity. So I'm considering maybe not even going for Voice of the Storm. This is also because on hardcore there actually hasn't been a voice in like 3 days. So In my current situation, this doesn't make too much sense, but we'll see how that goes. And Ellie Penetration Gem. So I have been using Lightning Pin for quite a bit, and I feel like this has been baiting people. The main reason I was using Lightning Pin is because I just didn't have access to Ellie Pin, and now I have Ellie Pin. Ellie Pin is just a better gem. You have so much flat damage that's not lightning that you should just be using Ellie Pin. There is actually, on POB, it's saying that hyperthermia is actually potentially better than Ellie Pin, and you do actually chill quite a bit because you have so much flat cold damage. At least I do. So that's a consideration as well. Maybe you can use hyperthermia. But yeah, Ellie Pin is better than Lightning Pin. So I've been asked quite a few questions about lab enchants. I'm currently using a lightning arrow damage lab enchant. I think this is probably the best overall. Gives you some more single target. And the other enchant is hits traditional targets, I think. That's pretty good for mapping. Definitely a consideration. But yeah, either one's fine. They're not too crazy either way. One thing to consider though is if you have Bubonics and you have, like, you want to go for another 50% aura, you probably should consider getting a reservation aura. Like for example, Grace of Determination or whatever 50% aura you want to run. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is Pen Boot enchant. So you definitely should go for Pen Boot enchant. This is going to be, it's like 8 to 10% more DPS depending on your gear for a single target. Quite a big deal, and it's just a boot enchant. So you should go for this as soon as possible. Very, very solid. And yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. I hope you guys enjoy these video updates, and this might be my last one, but we'll see. I might have one more. Definitely gonna make a build guide at the very end though, and yeah, I hope you guys have been enjoying the content. And yeah, see you guys next time. Have a good league.